TLR is spending big to help incumbents. It's May 23rd, 2024, and these are your headlines. The establishment donors are in full force as the Republican primary runoff election continues. We've got the election date next week, next Tuesday, and they're spending big to keep additional incumbents from succumbing to challenges from the right. Texans for Lawsuit Reform, TLR, is of course part of this activity. The establishment juggernaut, which has completed its mission to reform out-of-control lawsuits in the state, has now shifted to protect incumbents. According to their websites, the TLR PAC has endorsed and is spending heavily in a handful of primary runoff races, mostly to defend incumbents. Incumbents like Representative Stephanie Klick, who David Lowe has forced into a second consecutive runoff election. She received over $250,000 from TLR in the first round. In the runoff, TLR has given $135,000 in direct contributions and another $22,000 in in-kind contributions. Another Republican like Klick who finds himself in a repeat battle is Lynn Stuckey. In the last cycle, Andy Hopper narrowly missed defeating the incumbent lawmaker. TLR has given Stuckey $134,000 in combined direct and in-kind donations. A handful of Republican candidates TLR is backing, though at varying levels of giving, are at odds with Governor Abbott over their opposition to school choice. People like Dwayne Burns, Justin Holland, Gary Van Dever, and John Kemple. State Representative Frederick Frazier, who's also endorsed by TLR, received $347,000 ahead of the March primary. The freshman lawmaker whose felony charges have hampered him had the worst performance of an incumbent member of the House in the first round of the election. TLR has, of course, also donated $68,000 to House Speaker Dade Phelan in his runoff election against David Covey. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has joined 23 fellow Republican governors in opposing a proposed pandemic agreement that would grant the World Health Organization unprecedented and unconstitutional powers over the United States and its people. The letter sent to President Joe Biden explains that the governors have found the proposed treaty will, quote, empower the WHO, the World Health Organization, particularly its uncontrollable Director General, with the authority to restrict the rights of U.S. citizens, including freedoms such as speech, privacy, travel, choice of medical care, and informed consent, thus violating the Constitution's core principles. They expressed disagreement with the treaty as it would strip elected representatives of their role in setting public health policies and compelling citizens to comply with WHO directives. Additional concerns arose over the global surveillance infrastructure that would be needed for member states to censor speech related to public health. Now, this is a long list, so get ready, but I want to recognize all of them that signed on to this. You had the governors of Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Mississippi, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming, all signing a letter alongside Abbott.
What are the important things out there in Texas politics and Texas news that matter to you, and what can you do about it? That's what we want to bring you with the Luke Macias Show on a weekly basis for 20 to 30 minutes. That way you can get the information and go do something for the rest of your week. I look forward to coming to you every Wednesday.
Lastly, a quick update. As you can see, we're actually filming live from the Republican Party of Texas's convention in San Antonio. Things have really kicked off today, the first real day of session, as people are meeting in their caucuses. They're working to elect party leadership. And then ultimately, we're going to have those legislative priorities come out in the next few days. One of the big things I want to talk about real quick that you may have seen some reporting on is the idea of closed primaries. As the party rules go right now, the version of rules that have made it through temporary committee, so these could be changed. These are subject to change in the next couple of days. But as of right now, it appears that the Republican Party of Texas is on track to close its primary elections. And what does that mean? Currently in Texas, we have open primary elections. That means that if you are a Democrat, you can vote in the Republican primary and vice versa. And we've actually seen this happen in practice. You have some places like Dade Phelan's district, for example, where in the March runoff, or March primary rather, you had 9% of voters in that race with a Democrat voting history. And of course, David Covey and conservatives down there have suggested those people swayed the vote, kept Phelan from losing outright, and kept him around. And so there's been a question over whether or not the party can do it, or whether or not the legislature needs to be involved. The party is going to take steps, it looks like, this week to close the primaries. We're going to be covering it all, and you can see more of today's stories from the convention and from beyond Texas at TexasScorecard.com.